The land of the free and the home of the brave. That is what America calls itself. But if you're one of those people who likes to sport a tinfoil hat, then you might find that America has some other stuff going on. Some deep, dark secrets that you don't want anyone to know. Coming in at number 10, we have Who Killed Kennedy? Now, the story in the book says that Lee Harvey Oswald was the one who shot Kennedy on that day when he was in front of everyone in America. But we're not here to stick to the books. They don't keep all the secrets in the books. When you go back to the old footage, we see that there was for sure 2 shooters. So who was the second shooter on that day? There also is a ton of motivation to have Kennedy killed. He was starting to crack down on organized crime. He might have been sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. He was supporting the civil rights movement, and he wanted to make it law to give black people equal pay to white people. And there were a whole bunch of other things that Kennedy was trying to push that would have cost the super rich millions, maybe even billions. And after he was killed, his brother was killed, and Marilyn Monroe mysteriously had an overdose. And the guy who was accused of killing Kennedy was shot and killed before he could ever stand trial, so we never got the full story from this dude. The whole thing is wrapped in so much mystery, and we will probably never get to the bottom of this. Coming at number 9, we have Harvey Weinstein. This was an open secret in Hollywood for a long time. When word came out that Harvey Weinstein was one of the most notorious rapists in Hollywood history, the world was shocked. But here's the thing. Everyone knew about this. Not like me, everyone, but everyone in show business. There was even a story of Courtney Love telling other women that if Harvey Weinstein ever invites you to the Four Seasons, don't go, because that's where he pulls all of his dirty tricks. Thankfully, all of the secrets about this man are out in the open, and now he has been thrown behind bars and will hopefully never be heard from again. Enjoy your twilight years while you're brutally beaten in jail. Good riddance. I only put this one at number 9 because it used to be a secret, but now everyone knows what's going on. Coming in at number 8, we have disinformation agent. So here's a tactic that will only be spouted as some mad rhetoric that some internet weirdos believe in, but here's the thing, it's absolutely real. Disinformation is something that the American government will use all the time to try and muddy the waters, so when information leaks out about their top secret experiments, no one finds out what they're actually up to. The information is mixed in with some of the bull crap that they made up, so you don't know what is true. A perfect example of this is the Roswell aliens. For decades, people believed that there were aliens flying through Roswell, that for whatever reason this was a hot spot that aliens wanted to visit. I don't know why they would want to go to a desert as their first place to visit on planet Earth. That is for sure not the best thing we have to offer. But that was a myth made up by the CIA. The reason they did this was because they were testing experimental aircrafts in the area. If these UFOs were ever spotted and people thought they were aliens, they would never try to investigate them as American military devices, and this would keep all of the American military projects secret. Coming in at number 7, we have Area 51. That being said, there are some squirrely things that are going on in Area 51 that we don't know about. The rumors about this place are endless. Some say that they have everything locked away in this secret location. I mean, we're talking about secret weapons that could demolish entire cities. Things that would make a nuke look like a bow and arrow. There are rumors that the future of space travel is locked away in this place, that they have spaceships that can move faster than the speed of light, which is supposed to be impossible, but the eggheads at Area 51 might have found a way to do it. Element 115 is supposed to be one of the most powerful compounds on the planet, and the fuel to all these futuristic spaceships, that's supposed to be locked away down there. Alien life is apparently down there too. Can you guys just open it up for a little while so we could run through and take a bunch of pictures of this stuff? Like, please? Come on, be cool. Coming in at number 6, we have Who You Are. Here's something you don't think about all the time, but the American government is constantly working with powerhouses like Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and many others, constantly collecting data on you. They're listening to your phone calls, which we know from everything that Edward Snowden leaked. You can listen to the podcast with him on the Joe Rogan Experience, which is absolutely frightening. Now, even though America might not be looking right at your information all the time, they are collecting it. They have a file on you right now that they could pull up at any time. They have recordings of almost all of your conversations. They have data on you big time. In fact, the American government might know you better than you know yourself. Coming in at number 5, we have the moon base. Now this one is major speculation, but apparently the Americans didn't just land on the moon, leave a flag, and then bounce. They built a base up there so they could have a military advantage that no one would expect. The idea behind this is that in the late 50s there was a plan to take a nuke up to the moon, leave it there, and blow it up. This way the whole world could watch a nuke blow up on the moon, and it would display how powerful America is. Now that was a real plan. They obviously didn't go through with this plan because it's super extra, but people think they still went up there, placed nukes there, just in case they have to shoot a moon nuke at someone someday. Coming in at number 4, we have what's going on with the food. What is going on with American food? It has been known for a long time that many people have their hands in the American food supply, from pharmaceutical companies to Monsanto's to billionaire lobbyists who can manipulate the FDA to bend to their will with money. It goes from small stuff like no labeling on GMO products to large stuff like sneaking high fructose corn syrup into everything. And in some states it's cheaper to buy fruit punch than it is to buy water. It's hard to keep yourself healthy when the super rich are going out of their way to make sure that everything you put in your mouth is poison. Coming in at number 3, we have time travel. We think it would be impossible to travel through time, but apparently the Americans have been doing this for quite some time. Declassified information about Project Pegasus came forward, which revealed that DARPA had been working on time travel for years, and while the final pieces of the report suggested that they shut down the program due to lack of success, there have been reports from attorney Andrew D. Basiago. He stated that not only has the US government perfected this tech, but that he has also been sent through time himself. Honestly, I hope that this is true, because this would be the answer to fixing global warming. I would just hope that whoever is using this power isn't completely evil, please. Coming in at number 2, we have the destabilization of Iran. In the 1960s, Iran elected a new leader, and it seemed that the country had a prosperous new future. The leader was left-leaning, agnostic, and wanted to see a future that had a free and powerful Iran. But having Iran as a new powerhouse in the Middle East did not fare well for the American interests, so they staged a coup. Through American broadcasting systems, they televised a fake revolution and posted it all over Iranian news. This made the Iranian people think that a revolution was happening and gave fuel to the anti-Western sentiment that some people felt about the new leader. They overthrew a democratically elected official and put a Shah in place who would tear down any hope of Iran being a free and prosperous country. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have who killed Jeffrey Epstein. Probably the worst secret to come out of America in recent years is the fact that one of the most rich and powerful people on the planet, who had ties and relationships with many high-profile people throughout the world, everyone from governors to presidents to billionaires to actors to people all throughout Hollywood to princes and kings and all that stuff, was also in possession of an island who he used for sex trafficking. He would use this island so all of these high-profile scum could perform horrible deeds with underage people. And then it was discovered, people came forward, this guy was arrested and then thrown in jail. Now people sat and waited for the most high-profile case in American history to be put underway, but before Epstein could spill the beans, he took his own life in solitary confinement. But this was super suspicious because the camera to his cell was turned off at the time of his death, and his injuries were in conjunction with someone being strangled, not someone being hung. So it was pretty clear that this guy who had dirt on the most rich and powerful people on the planet was killed so he wouldn't open his mouth. Now the question is, who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
Starting off this countdown, we have the pollution problem. America is a huge country with a population of over 328 million people. As a result, America is said to be the second biggest polluter in the world, the first being China. But historically, the US is responsible for more emissions than any other country. It is said that the average American throws away 4.4 pounds of trash daily. That means that around 1.4 billion pounds of trash gets thrown out of the US every single day. That's crazy. It's one of the most wasteful places on the planet. But the government doesn't want you to know these statistics. Instead, they want you to think that they're doing their part to combat climate change. Meanwhile, they are a huge polluter. On top of this, the US military is also a huge polluter. In fact, it is said to cause more pollution than 100 countries combined. In 2017, the US military bought about 270,000 barrels of oil a day. Its fuel usage alone results in more carbon dioxide than most medium-sized countries. Moving on to number 9, we have the ongoing waste. This next fact shocked me. So since America has so much waste, they actually dump their trash into poor, undeveloped countries. These countries then have to deal with the waste and sort it and discard of it themselves. In 2018, Malaysia imported about 435 million pounds of plastic scrap from the US. Last year, about 68,000 containers filled with American plastic recycling was sent to undeveloped countries. The sad part is that most of the recyclables are contaminated with food or dirt, making it non-recyclable, meaning all this garbage is being piled up in other countries. In Hanoi, Vietnam, a woman named Nugent Hong Pham is among other workers that get paid only $6.50 a day, and they have to sort through America's recycling. She claims that outside of her home, it's just filled with garbage, from Cheeto bags to plastic bags to candy wrappers. She spends her days digging through the heaps, separating the recyclables from the trash. In 2019, 187 countries signed a treaty giving nations the power to block the import of contaminated or hard-to-recycle plastic trash. US was among the few countries not to sign the treaty. Making our way down the list at number 8, we have the spy kitties. Okay, this one is kind of funny, I can't lie. In the late 60s, the CIA put millions of dollars into research. What were they researching? Well, they wanted to see if cats could be trained spies. Yep. They planned to train cats to spy on the Soviet Union, but this was a huge fail. They called this Operation Acoustic Kitty. Basically, they implanted a microphone in the cat's ear and a radio transmitter in the cat's skull. Their plan was to have the cat lurk near foreign officials to pick up on their private conversations. But this went terribly wrong. During their first test, the cat wandered into the street and got struck and killed by a car. So yeah, they wasted millions of dollars with that plan. Coming in at number 7, we have the archived tweets. Since 2006, the Library of Congress has been keeping every single public tweet. That's right, the Library of Congress has a record of every tweet ever made. In 2013, they had more than 170 billion tweets saved, which is quite creepy. But they claim that they're doing this to preserve a record of knowledge. Yeah, okay, because tweets are really that important. But don't worry, in 2017, they said that they will no longer be keeping every single tweet. They now will be more selective with the ones that make it to the archives, meaning only tweets surrounding big events or themes will be saved. Still, it's pretty creepy knowing that your tweets have been saved and people can access them in the future. Like, imagine all the embarrassing tweets that are probably saved in the archives. In the future, someone's gonna read them and spend hours trying to decipher them all. Like, what is hashtag YOLO? What do you think that meant? Moving on to number 6, we have the lobotomies. Back in the day, lobotomies were thought to cure severe mental illnesses. But the way that they were first conducted in the States were quite terrifying. In 1936, a neurosurgeon named Walter Freeman performed the first lobotomy in the US. Basically, it consisted of him drilling 2 holes in a person's skull and then sticking in a needle and swishing it back and forth. This was supposed to cut all the bad connections in the brain. He performed about 2,500 lobotomies before he was banned from doing so. A lot of people suffered from brain hemorrhaging or brain damage, and then other people even lost their lives. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with the healthcare system. In America, the 3rd leading cause of death is from medical errors. That's right, this is something that most US doctors don't want you to know. A study in 2018 concluded that more than 250,000 people in the US die every year from medical errors. Other reports think that it's as high as 440,000 people. Some of the medical mistakes include error in judgment or care, a system defect, computer breakdowns, and mix-ups with the doses or types of medications administered to patients. One sad case of a medical error surrounds a girl named Emily Jerry. After finally being declared cancer-free, Emily's doctors wanted one more chemo treatment just to be sure. On the day of her final treatment, the technician filled her intravenous bag with more than 20 times the recommended dose of sodium chloride. This caused her to lose her life. Coming in at number 4, we have the firearms problem. So we all know that firearms are a huge problem in the United States. But what you may not have known is that more children die in the US from firearms than anywhere else in the world. The first one being car crashes and the third being cancer. In 2016, more than 3,000 children died from gun-related deaths. Only a small portion of that was from school shootings. It's sad, but if the states had better gun control, then tons of kids would still be alive today. Moving on to number 3, we have prison life. The United States incarcerates more people than any other country. Currently, there are around 2.2 million people behind bars. What's sad is that some of these inmates have a lengthy sentence for minor crimes that they committed. One reason for the high numbers is because of America's tough on crime attitude. Some prisoners are locked up for life for non-violent crimes. Because of this high number, overcrowding is a huge problem that they are facing. There are so many people being convicted and sent to jail, but not enough space for them. Now, it's said that 21% of incarcerated people are sentenced for a crime that takes a long time to process. So even if they are innocent, they spend a majority of their life in jail waiting to be sentenced. That is, if they can't afford bail. It is thought that more than 460,000 innocent people are in jail in America. In our second spot, we have the serial killers. America is said to have the most serial killers in the world. That's terrifying. There has been 2,320 identified serial killers in America. Now, the country with the second highest amount of serial killers is England, with only 116. That's nothing compared to America with over 2,000. So out of all the serial killers in the world, 70% of them are from the US. On top of that, there is assumed to be approximately 2,000 active serial killers that have not been caught yet. So that's great. Glad I'm safe in Canada. But fun fact, or maybe it's not so fun, but it's said that an average person walks past at least 16 murderers in their lifetime. So there's that. And in our number 1 spot, we have Project Sunshine. This is a secret that the US government tried to hide from us, but eventually it got leaked. During the 1950s, the US government was using stillborn babies to conduct radiation tests on. They wanted to determine the effects that radiation would have on humans and how much they could withstand. They called this Project Sunshine. Turns out that the parents of these children were never told that these tests were being conducted on their child. It's very sad and unethical. So basically, they were stealing body parts and tissues from morgues, and then they ran tests on them. It is said that more than 1,500 samples were gathered worldwide. A leaked recording has caught Dr. Willard Libby, who was in on these experiments, saying, and I quote, "I don't know how to get them." He was referring to the body parts. "But I do say that it is a matter of prime importance to get them, and particularly in the young age group. So human samples are of prime importance, and if anybody knows how to do a good job of body snatching, they will really be serving their country."
Zooming in, you can see a skinny gray creature stalking through the woods that certainly fits the description of a Wendigo. Also, the way it walks just sends chills down the spine.
Let's start this list off in at number 10 with a fan favorite. Yeah, that's right, I'm talking about Bigfoot. This extremely hairy humanoid creature has been spotted by a ton of people in all forests around the continental US, from Pennsylvania to the Pacific Northwest. It seems like Bigfoot is everywhere. Although there isn't real concrete evidence that Bigfoot actually exists, there are countless sightings and testimonies from people who swear that they've seen him. The legend of Bigfoot dates back at least 3,000 years, and even Native Americans have their own reported sightings of this hairy beast. Apparently Bigfoot is nocturnal, weighs about 400 pounds, and has black fur and glowing green eyes. One theory about why we don't have evidence that Bigfoot exists is because they actually bury their dead, and that's why we haven't come across any Bigfoot carcasses in the wild. Bigfoot might actually be a surviving member of the presumed extinct race of ancient apes. So all this time we thought that this race went extinct, but in reality they could be living in the US just waiting to be discovered. Or not be discovered. I don't think they want people to know about them. The Jersey Devil bites its way into this list at number 9. With a name like that, I really hope that this creature isn't real, and I'm also really glad that I don't live in New Jersey, or else I would probably be its next victim, because I'm not that lucky. The Jersey Devil is described as having wings, the face of a horse, and the tail of a lizard. According to the legend, a woman gave birth to this thing, and ever since, it's threatening the lives of people living in New Jersey and livestock. The Jersey Devil has been spotted by several people, and the legend grew because there are a ton of unexplained animal attacks. There were strange footprints and reports by eyewitnesses. In 1960, there was a $10,000 reward for anyone who could capture the Jersey Devil, and they said that they would build a private zoo to house the creature if it was captured. If you ever find yourself in New Jersey, try to listen for the blood-curdling scream. If you hear it, the Jersey Devil could be close, and it might be too late for you to escape. The green-clawed beast claws its way in at number 8. Well, judging by the name, this is a creature that I definitely don't want to run into. The green-clawed beast. What a beast of a name. He is known to haunt the areas of the Ohio River, and trust me, nothing about this creature will make you feel comfortable. He uses his hairy arms and giant clawed hands to grab innocent women. In 1955, a claw-like hand grabbed a woman and pulled her under the water. She was gasping for air and screaming for help. When her friend swam over to help her, the attack suddenly stopped. Afterwards, the woman was visited by a man who claimed to be from the Air Force and told her to never speak of the incident ever again. I mean, wow, that sounds super sketchy to me, and I bet this creature is living in Area 51, and we might find it when we storm Area 51. It's fast approaching. September 20th? September 25th, I think. For those of you guys who are storming it, let me know if you see him, and tell him I said, hey, I'm a friendly Canadian. Number 7, we have the Flathead Lake Monster. What is with all these scary creatures coming from the water? I'm gonna develop an irrational fear of water. I mean, already I shower once a month, but now I'm probably not gonna shower again because of this list. I'm probably not gonna wanna touch water ever again. But let's go back to the Flathead Lake Monster. Apparently this eel-like creature could be lurking at the bottom of Flathead Lake in Montana. Some say that he is about 20 to 50 feet long, his body is brownish blue, and has grayish black eyes. The first documented sighting of this monster was back in 1989. A passenger on a steamboat spotted a whale-like creature heading straight for the boat. They tried shooting it with a rifle, but he got away. Since then, there have been so many other sightings, and it makes you wonder, does the Flathead Lake Monster actually exist?
Out of the water.
It was like a serpent, didn't see a head. Just the body.
What we saw was probably as long as our boat, which was 24 feet. And that's kind of freaky, that you have something out there that might be twice as big as your boat, swimming below you.
Well, I definitely won't be swimming in that lake trying to prove whether or not this thing exists anytime soon. I'm happy staying dry and safe on land, where I belong. The skunk ape brings us to number 6. Hopefully this creature doesn't exist because it's a large hairy ape/man that gives off a horrendous smell and roams around the state of Florida. Okay, think about the worst thing that you've ever smelt in your life and times that by 100. There have been so many sightings around Florida over the years, and apparently this beast likes to show up in the day or night in different environments. So if you're from Florida, you aren't really safe because this smelly creature likes to go everywhere. There's a website completely devoted to documenting sightings of the skunk ape, and it says it has received several reports of sightings every single week. There are even a ton of pictures of it. They also have hair samples and foot casts of the skunk ape, and to me, that is absolutely terrifying. And now number 5, Kushtaka. This shape-shifting creature is rumored to be lurking in southern Alaska. It's basically a cross between an otter and a man. This is an otter man, and I don't know about you guys, but I find that strangely terrifying. The Kushtaka is rumored to make noises that mimic children and wives, and they do this so they can lure unsuspecting fishermen and so they can kill them. They apparently like to lure you into the river where they'll either kill you or they will tear you to shreds or turn you into another Kushtaka. But don't worry, if these creatures actually exist, you can ward them off with copper, urine, or fire. I'm not sure who can pee in a moment of Actually, I can pee easily in a moment of fear. So I guess just make sure if you're visiting Alaska, you have all 3 of those things with you at all times. Maybe just carry pee in your pocket in a bottle or something, I don't know. Otherwise, you might be another one of their dinners. It is also said that they like to target children because they're easy. They're easier prey. So you might want to keep a close eye on your children. The Goat Man comes barging in at number 4. Some say that the Goat Man is just another creepy urban legend that someone made up. but actually the goat man stirred up so much attention that the USDA had to formally deny the creature of the goat man in their Beltsville Research Agriculture Center, but for some reason, I'm not buying it. This half-man, half-goat creature has been cited by numerous people on so many different occasions. Apparently he likes to chase down teenagers in Lover's Lane area and distract drivers on Crybaby Bridge in Prince George's County. Who's naming these places? But let's get into the nitty-gritty of things. The goatman is half goat, half human, and he enjoys carrying around an axe. And he was created when a scientist was experimenting on a goat, and one of his experiments backfired. The scientist was mutated and became the Goatman, and since then, he began attacking cars with an axe, roaming back roads, and terrorizing people. Number 3, the infamous Mothman. Let me tell you guys a story about the Mothman. Well, on the night of November 15th, 1966, 4 people were driving home, and they noticed 2 red lights in the shadows near an old TNT factory farm. They did the most illogical thing and decided to investigate the strange red lights. Well, they claimed that they saw a 6'7" creature that resembled a man with large wings. Sounds legit to me, right? Oh, and the red light were actually his eyes. They ran for their car, but the beast flew over them. Ever since then, thousands of people have claimed to have also seen him. Maybe they're describing the movie Jeepers Creepers, but be careful, because if you get too close to this Mothman, it can cause you some confusion, extreme fear, and psychological distress, and it will last for months and months, and it can lead to death or insanity, like a lifetime of insanity. And to this day, people have claimed to have seen the Mothman before disasters like 9/11 and the collapse of the 35 West Bridge in Minneapolis. Slenderman takes us to number 2. I think we are way too familiar with Slenderman. He has been at the center of attention for a long time now. But for those of you guys who don't know, Slenderman is a paranormal creature who lurks in forests and absorbs or kills his victims. He likes to target young children, and he looks like an extremely tall, thin man dressed in a black suit, but he doesn't have a face. Is this real life right now? He has a bunch of terrifying powers, such as invisibility. He can change his height and shape. I wish I could change my height. I would want to be like a few inches taller. Also, his arms can turn into tentacles. I think that'd be cool if I could do that as well. And he has the ability to sprout tentacles from his back and shoulders, so he can use them as additional arms and legs, because why not? 2 and 2 are it's just not enough. I really hope Slenderman doesn't exist, because the world would be way too terrifying to live in it. And finally, in at number 1, we have the Wendigo. This is probably one of the oldest stories about a legendary monster. Native Americans used to believe that this creature actually existed, so they actually tried to hunt them down. The Wendigo is a 15-foot shape-shifting monster who roams in northern Minnesota. Apparently anyone who resorts to cannibalism and tastes human flesh will become one. So like I said before, the Wendigo has a craving for human meat, but the scariest part is that the Wendigo is never satisfied. They can eat, and eat. I have the opposite problem of this. I can't seem to eat at all. I have I have an appetite. I just don't like food. Am I the only one here? Getting back to this one, don't think for a minute that the Wendigo is just located in one area. Apparently it could be found all over the United States, so I would watch your back if I were you. And it's a good reason why I live up here in Canada, because I don't want to come across the Wendigo. But what if the Wendigo crosses the border? What if he gets a passport?